we were going back and forth yesterday about, hey, let's get somebody on to talk about these NBA playoffs, and this was the first name that came across all of our text exchange because we just love watching him on the Worldwide Leader in Sports, and also when he's on First Take and all the other family of ESPN television shows and products. The great Kendrick Perkins back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Kendrick?
What's going on? Appreciate you having me on.
Always. You know that. You've got a spot here. Okay, so the story of the second round of the NBA playoffs is what? What is your top story right here? Kendrick Perkins.
You know what? The top story to me is Ja Morant. I think it has to be Ja Morant. Look, when you talk about the greatest individual performance thus in this playoffs, it was last night. And Ja Morant put on a clinic yesterday. I mean, when you talk about what he did going head-to-head with Steph Curry, one of the all-time greats, in my opinion, the top 10 greatest player of all time, and the way that he did it and the fashion that he did it, dropping that 47-piece wing, then all flats, 18 in the fourth, and all meaningful buckets, he has to be the biggest storyline right now in the postseason.
And then just the way the series has gone, that we've seen 2 flagrant twos in 2 games, and the team that's had the player ejected won the game. What did you make of Steve Kerr's comments saying that Dillon Brooks broke a code? What do you think of that one?
Well, you know what, Rich? I will say this. For the first time, I agree with Steve Kerr. What Dillon Brooks did, it is a code in the locker room when you don't have a chance to actually, when a guy's already taken off and up in the air, you're not supposed to come from behind and do what he did, Dillon Brooks did last night. I mean, it was uncalled for. I thought he was completely out of line. And the results, you get a guy like Gary Payton Jr., who was one of the most, beautiful stories in the NBA this season for us, what he had to go through. Now he's out because of an ignorant play by Dillon Brooks that was uncalled for. So I was right there with Steve Kerr on that. Like, you just can't do that. And in my opinion, I think he should be suspended for Game 3, maybe Game 4.
Is that because of the injury, though, Kendrick? That if Gary Payton II had bounced up, then Brooks shouldn't be suspended? Like we're in that nether region that we seem to find ourselves in either playoff basketball or hockey, when somebody gets hurt due to a dirty play or a code violating play, that we react even more stridently when we see how hurt somebody is.
No, I agree, and I think that plays a huge part in it. But the fact that he didn't make a play on the ball and wasn't trying to make a play on the ball, like people trying to downplay it and say, oh, he didn't do it intentionally or he didn't try to hurt him intentionally. Well, guess what? He tried to foul him the way he did intentionally, and no one else could make me think otherwise. Here's the thing, Rich, and I want to get your opinion on it.
Okay.
Okay, so listen to this. I think, including myself, all old school guys, former players, analysts that's been around for a long time, I think we're doing a disservice at the moment, again, including myself, of calling the NBA soft. And I say that to say this, because it's called evolution. Like, although we used to the 80s and 90s and they got rugged, they got physical, there's still ways to play physical. But when I think about the evolution, I look at guys being more skilled right now in today's game. I look at better shooting. And so when I see all that, it's more entertaining and it's better for basketball. So when we criticize or we call the league soft, guys are watching. Like, a lot of NBA guys may say, oh, I don't pay attention to the media, they're lying, right? I was in those locker rooms. All those guys see everything that is said about them or about their organization, etc. And so when they say that, so when we say that the league is getting soft in this playoff basketball and, the refs need to lighten up, the NBA should be ashamed of themselves, I think it's just add fuel to the fire for us with the players to go out there and try to prove that the league isn't soft. And in that case, you get an incident like you did last night or in this series with a Draymond Green and the Dillon Brooks. What you think about that?
That's interesting. Again, you'd be more attuned to just how much rabbit ears the current NBA player group would have. I just, I see this series and I see what Draymond is saying and how he's banged up. And I don't want to see anybody with a broken elbow because I don't want to see anything a man code or an NBA code violation, right? But I do like the chippiness a lot. I do like it. Because whatever, let's put it this way, whatever is between soft and Bill Lambier, okay, I'm that's what I'm looking for,
Right.
That's what I'm looking for from the NBA.
But here's the thing. You can still play physical without playing ignorant, right? So when I look at a team like the Boston Celtics who's playing physical, when I look at a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks, they play physical. When you look at them goons from Dade County, the Miami Heat, they play physical. But they don't mean that they play ignorant. They don't mean that they make stupid plays. They don't mean that they do unnecessary type things that will cause somebody to get hurt. So it's a way to still be physical and still have that toughness and that edge and bring that type of joy to the game. Because remember, I'm all for it. I don't like friendly basketball. I'm not with the jersey swap after the game. I'm not with none of that, right? I love the tension. I love the beef, that people be having. But at some point in time, right, you got to lay down a law where you have to protect the players.
So what did you think of Draymond's comments after the game about his double bird, flipping off the fans and talking about how much money he makes so the fine doesn't matter to him? What did you think of that?
Well, I'm going to say this. The double bird part, I really didn't care because I know Memphis is a hostile environment. And no one really taking that personal, right? The double bird, we done seen a lot of people do that. I think it's great entertainment. Yeah, he will get fined. I will say this, though. The thing that you don't have to do is you don't have to cross the line of reporting or saying how much money you make. We all know that. Like, you don't have to downplay I make an appearance. Like, we already know that. Like once you start trying to throw in people's face what you got or what you like, at the end of the day, the fans make up the NBA, right? The fans are the reason that players are successful. The fans are the reason that players are able to get paid these big deals like they're able to get paid. So at some point, you have to respect the fans and what they bring to the table. And even if they're booing you, right? Like, it's part of it. Like, I used to love getting booed. When I was on the Celtics, we used to embrace that. Like, boo us. Like, we used to thrive off of that. But some guys don't. But, I just didn't. That's the part I didn't like about Draymond was saying, I make $25 million a year. We know that already, dog.
Kendrick Perkins from ESPN, Hoop Stream's co-host right here on the Rich Eisen Show. So I'll ask you about a take that I've had. You tell me if I should carry on, to use your phrase, or not. That the 75th anniversary team version of James Harden has got to show up, and he's got to show up starting right now for the Sixers. Your thoughts on that subject?
You know what? I'm going to add to that and say carry the hell on, because you're absolutely right. But here's the thing. I don't know if he can. Like, I'm asking for the same version of James Harden, but I don't know if he got it in him no more. I think Father Time has caught up with James Harden. I think he has shown us that for the simple fact that he has already started to transition himself into playing the point guard position. Like, when I'm watching him play, he can't get by guys no more. And I'm used to watching a James Harden where a guy would press up on him and he would break him down, being able to separate and get to a step-back three-point shot. He can't even do that. I'm watching the Miami game the other night, and they calling for a switch to get Tyler Hero in the pick and roll, and no disrespect to Tyler Hero whatsoever. But he's not an elite defender, okay? He can score buckets, but he's not known as an elite defender. We all know this. And James Harden couldn't even get by him. So I don't know. Like, I'm giving him this last moment tonight to show me that he's capable of actually rising to the occasion. And I'm not even talking about scoring 40. I just want to see him score 28 to 30 points. That's all I want to see him do. If he don't do it tonight, then I think we have to accept that this is who he is. Because I'm going to tell you something, Rich. My grandfather always used to tell me, if a person show you who they are, you got to believe it.
And who is he, right? I mean, like, because it just seems to me the number of times in which, you just mentioned moments ago, Kendrick Perkins, about how players are hearing what media is saying and how it absorbs, how they absorb it. I mean, this is it. Like, this is his time to win a championship, and I know Embiid needs to be out there in order to win it. I get it. But in order to get to Embiid being back out there and it still being a viable opportunity for them, Harden's got to show up tonight. And do it tonight. 75th anniversary team type James Harden. He doesn't even seem to get to the line anymore. Like, that used to be the guarantee for him, getting to the line and making his free throw.
Exactly. And that's where I'm getting to. Look, let's not act like we all don't know the history of James Harden after he lose tough playoff series or don't show up in the game 7. Then we see clips of him being in the club or hanging with Lil Baby or hanging with the rappers. Most guys that really put their all into it and really, really give a damn and really, really want to win a championship, like if they lose and they on the contender team, you probably won't hear from them for about a month. You could go search it. Just look at a guy like Jaylen Brown, right? Think about it. Game 1 against the Bucks, he was horrible. All of a sudden, game 2, he showed up to the arena like 2.5, 3 hours early. He was talking about how he didn't get any rest. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't wait for game 2. And he came out, he held himself accountable, went back, corrected all the mistakes and things that he did in game 1, and he shined in great fashion. That showed me a guy that actually cared, not about his individual performance, but actually care about winning. And so when you see that, if they showing us that, that's what I came to the conclusion with James Harden, like that nonchalant attitude after certain games and just carrying on, his daily life and seem like he's not affected by it. This is who he is.
Before I let you go, Kendrick Perkins, I'll ask you this last question, bringing our full conversation full circle, because I asked you moments ago the storyline of the top story of the second round of the NBA playoffs, and you said John Morant. What do you think Zion Williamson is thinking right now, Kendrick Perkins?
What he should be thinking about signing that rookie extension this summer, and he should be thinking about wearing a Pelicans uniform, because what the Pelicans showed him at the end of this season with the culture, with Willie Green, with C.J. McCollum, with Brandon Ingram, the way those guys were playing, along with those other young guys, Herb Jones and Marshall and those guys, and Jose. He should be thinking about going back to the Pelicans and being part of that franchise and help them get to where they need to go, and that's being a contender and contending for a title, along with getting in some shape.
Right, because I'm just, again, wondering if he's looking at Morant and saying, you know what, I should be doing that. Or he's sitting there thinking, I don't know him. I don't know him, and I don't know what makes him tick. And in the same way that you're saying you see Jaylen Brown as a guy who wants to win, what do you think? Do you think that this is a guy that wants to maybe go somewhere else and be a star there and restart himself, and he's satisfied with his lot in NBA stardom right now, or what? What do you think?
I don't know, because my biggest thing with Zion is that you were the biggest high school player name going to college since a guy by the name of LeBron James. And one thing I don't like about Zion and quote-unquote his camp and the way that they handle things is that we never hear from him. And they always say, oh, he's young. No, you're a grown man once you step into the NBA. And if you're supposed to be a franchise player, we need to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. I don't want to hear from your daddy. I don't want to hear from your uncle. I don't want to hear from your agent. I don't even want to hear from Willie Green speaking on behalf of you. I want to hear from Zion Williamson. I want to know what Zion Williamson is thinking. And so I think it's a level of growth that he has to get to, along with cleaning up some areas. See, here's the problem that I have with a lot of young guys.
Mm-hmm.
So much pride, right, that they're afraid to reach out and get mentorship, right? Get a mentor. How about calling LeBron James? His line is always open. Reaching out to him and saying, hey, man, what I need to do, how I need to go about handling things, and start correcting it in those areas. And also cleaning up areas, where you say, hey, Mom, I just need you to be my mother. Or Daddy, I just need you to be my father. That's it. Let me handle the rest. Y'all sit back, come to the games, enjoy the games. Let me do everything else. But that comes with growth, and he's going to have to come out of that shell. But if he's not watching Ja Morant and what he has done for that Memphis Grizzlies organization, and he's not fueled by that, then he have a problem.
Kendrick Perkins, you are the man. Look for my call regularly, certainly as things go. Please, Kendrick, I greatly appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate you, Legend. Appreciate you having me on as always.
Always. At Kendrick Perkins on Twitter. I follow him. You should carry the hell on and do the same.
Big perk.
How's that?
Yeah.
Take care, Kendrick. Thanks for the call. That's Kendrick Perkins, everybody, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. I just love, again, his
real, man.
He simplifies it.
Yeah.
And he shoots you straight.
Yep.
I really love listening to his commentary and watching him on TV. At Kendrick Perkins on Instagram as well. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.